it's whole grain. Write that down. You need whole grain grits, whole grain cereals, whole grain bread, whole grain biscuit, all of it. Whole grain is the key word. Not whole wheat, but whole grain is you want. Now, we also talked about the sugar before, but I didn't give you the opposite of that. So why don't we do that? As I go down the list here, I'm going to give you both kinds of foods. I'm going to give you what I call live foods and dead foods. All right? Live foods and dead foods. So draw a line on your page and put live foods and dead foods, because you need to know about this, because if you eat dead, you get dead. That's the way it works, my friend. So you want to eat live foods. Now, so we talked about white processed sugar. You want to stay away from those kind of things. You want to stay away from the sugar substitutes. But what do you want to eat? Well, there is real brown sugar, not the brown sugar in the grocery store now. There's one out there, there's some sugars out there, that one of them's called turbinado sugar, and there's some other names like that. But you can get real brown sugar, even in the grocery stores now. But you want to go to a Whole Food market or a health food store to get this kind of sugar, real granulated brown sugar. That's what you want, a real sugar that has not been processed. Now, number 3 on the list, we talked about white sugar, white flour. Now, number 3 on the list is a group of drinks. That includes sodas, coffee, tea, orange juice, punch, juices out of the grocery store. This stuff is filled with sugar, my friend. Filled with sugar. So when the average soda can have anywhere from 39 to 59 tablespoonfuls of sugar. And there is no such thing, ladies, as a diet soda. Most of the diet sodas have more sugar in it than the regular sodas. So therefore, when you drink one, you are dumping all of this sugar in your body. If it has, let's say it has 39 tablespoonfuls of sugar in it. Well, can you sit at your kitchen table right now where you are, go and get a glass and a tablespoon and put 39 tablespoons in that glass? Take a look at it, and that's what you put in your body every time you drink a soda. And that's what you give to your children when you give them a whole soda to drink. That is what, and you want to know why the children are becoming diabetic? You want to know why they're overweight? It's because you're giving them all of this dead foods to put in their bodies. This is really what's happening now. So we want to talk about sodas, coffee, tea. Yeah, coffee. Coffee has 2 sugars even if you don't put sugar in it. Yes, it does. And then also tea, sodas, orange juice, punch, juices out of the grocery store. These things are filled with sugar. Next on the list is red meat. Now, red meat is very important when you talk about so-called diabetes, because red meat has fat, and the fat clogs up the blood. When the blood becomes very thick and viscous, then that causes the sugar to stay in the blood longer. You understand? So therefore, fat becomes a major factor when you're taking a look at diabetes. Not just all of the mumbo jumbo that they've been telling you, but you got to take a look at the fats also. You got to take a look at the mucus also. That makes the blood what? Very thick and viscous. So when it's thick like that, it keeps the sugar in the blood longer. Therefore, you can't get it out of the blood. So therefore, you stay diabetic all of your life. You see how it works? That's how it works. Now listen to me. So we're talking here now about red meat. So instead of eating the red meat, that includes the dark meat of chicken and turkey. Yes, it does. And don't forget, the wings could be one of the fattest parts of the chicken. So you want to sort of stay away from that. Now, what do you want to eat? And the goods, and now the live section, you want to put over there breast of chicken, breast of turkey, white meat fish. This is what you want to put there. Now, next on the list is dairy products. Now, dairy products, in my opinion, should have been number 1, but sugar sort of beat it out. Dairy products, we're talking about cheese, macaroni and cheese, yogurt, ice cream, any of those kinds of things. Any kind of cow's milk, 1%, 2%, low fat, lactose intolerant, all of those things are sugar to your body. I don't care what you call it. The body, this is sugar to your body. Sugar, my friend. Now, and remember that it is that dairy products is, in my opinion, the most mucus-forming food on this earth, bar none. This product clogs up the blood, makes the blood very thick and viscous. Do you know that half of the heart attacks and stroke happen because of mucus that's in the blood that makes the blood too thick? That, and not because of a blood clot, but a mucus clot that causes the person to have a heart attack or stroke. I know nobody ever told you that, but you need to know that because this is very important. It is not just the blood clots you got to look out for. You got to look out for the mucus clots. That's why that's why it is very dangerous to put in all of this dairy products. On top of that, it is also the most mucus forming food on this earth. It clogs up the head, the chest, the bowels, the stomach. And see, all they do when it's in different areas of the body, they just give it different names. So if it's in the head, what do they call it? They call it sinus rhinitis and sinusitis and all of these kinds of names. And then if you move that down to the chest, then they call it what? Asthma, bronchitis, pneumonia, emphysema. And if you move it further down to the colon, then they call it colitis and ileitis and irritable bowel syndrome and all of these kinds of things. But it's the same mucus, the same stuff that comes from eating too much flour and too much dairy products. Now, next on the list is drinking too much fluids. Now, I know every time I get to this, I get a lot of questions because people all over this world have been indoctrinated to believe that they need to drink a whole lot of fluids. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't need all of that fluids. First of all, that you need to get a hold of it. But this is another tape, and I want you to get a hold of it. The tape that we have on kidney failure, you need to get a hold of that tape and ask for that. And I'll go into that in depth. But let me just give you briefly. Drinking too much fluids can be a major contributing factor to raising your sugar level, raising your blood pressure, causing all kinds of problems in your blood. You see, this is very important. So how much drink should we do? Well, you know, most people out there have been taught that they need to drink what? 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. We can do this in unison, right? Everybody knows how much you should drink. 8 to 10 glasses. Well, that's wrong. It's wrong because we don't need that much fluid, my friend. All of the evidence shows that we don't need all of that fluid. The kidneys can only make 2 quarts of urine a day. That's all. That's all it can make. Doesn't matter if you stand on your head, if you turn blue, whatever it is, it still can only make 2 quarts of urine a day if it's operating at optimal level. If it's weak, it will not make that much urine. So here's the thing that you gotta realize. What we found is that the average person, and write this down, the average person should drink no more than 4 ounces at any one given time and never more than 40 ounces of total fluid for the day unless there's some extenuating circumstances. Let me say it again. 4 ounces at one time, that's a half a glass, and no more than 40 ounces of total fluid for the day. That's counting the fruits, that's counting the melons, that's counting all of the other fluids that you put in, not just water, but your juices and all your tea and all of this stuff. That should all be counted in that 40 ounces for the whole day. Now, you should only urinate, get this, you should only urinate 3 times a day and 1 time a night. That's all. That's what the average person out there should only urinate. Because when you urinate more than that, you've got a problem. And you can end up on dialysis, end up hooked up on dialysis. So you've got to be careful here about drinking all of this fluid. This is a major considering factor to your health, is how much fluids do you drink on a daily basis. And forget about it. You do not need all of that fluid in your body. Now, next thing on the list is animal fats. And that's butter, margarine, large corn oils, bacon grease, saturated fats, these kind of things. Those are bad fats. They're also good fats. Now, you can go to your health food store and you can get olive oil. There's olive oil in the grocery store, and there's olive oil in the health food store. The olive oil in the health food store is normally on the bottle. It will say, write this down, it will say cold press or first press. Expeller, the word expeller shall be on the bottle. Now, that's very important. Now, ones in the grocery store, I consider to be junk food. Those are not good fats. They're bad fats. So you want to put in good fat. Now, you can use olive oil, canola oil, and other kinds of oil. Just got to make sure that it's real oil. Now, next on the list is junk food in general. Of course, you could go to a hamburger joint, get a hamburger, or go and get a cheeseburger, some fries, and a Coke, and you've got all of these 8 most dangerous foods in one meal. Did you know that? So you don't want to do that on a very often. You don't want to take your children out to these kinds of things very often, because you can give them all of these foods in one setting. So be careful with that. Now, there are 4 more foods that if you have so-called diabetes or high sugar levels in the blood, there's some fruits that you do not want to touch. Now, I want to give them to you, and I want you to know about this. First of all, you cannot have bananas. No, you cannot have bananas. You cannot have a half a banana. No, because it will raise your sugar level immediately. I don't care what you've heard before. The information is wrong, because what you're doing is not working. You still have so-called diabetes. Then you have to eliminate you have to eliminate the banana in order to get rid of the so-called sugar out of your blood. So you must eliminate the banana. You must eliminate the grapes. You can't have 1 grape, 2 grape, 3 grape. You must eliminate grapes from your diet. Eliminate the grapes from your diet. You must also eliminate the avocado. You must eliminate the avocados from your diet. And also, definitely, you must eliminate the oranges and the orange juice. The oranges and the orange juice. You should never put these in your body. And also, there's some other dried fruits can also be a major problem for you. Now, those are the 14 most dangerous foods for a person who think that they're so-called diabetic or have high sugar levels. Now, we've talked about the foods we talked about why you have this thing, or why you think you have this thing. So now we know how the sugar gets in the blood. It gets in there by what you eat and what you drink on a daily basis. Now you know what foods you should never put in your body. Now the next question comes is, how do I get rid of this thing called diabetes, or so-called high sugar levels? How do I get rid of it? Well, the only way, we must ask ourselves some questions. Number 1, what is so-called diabetes? It is a disease that is caused by high sugar levels where? In the blood. So where's the sugar? It's in the blood. Now, here's a question for you. How do you get the sugar out of the blood? The answer? Clean it out. The only way that you're going to get the sugar out of the blood is to clean it out of the blood. Now, here's a question for you. Many of you out there that's listening to me right now are taking insulin, and many of you are taking sugar pills, and many of you are taking both, and many of you are taking more than one of each of those. Now I want to ask you a question here, and I want you to think about this for a moment. Does insulin take sugar out of the blood? Answer? No, it does not. It doesn't take sugar out of the blood. So if it doesn't take sugar out of the blood, then what does it do? I mean, why do you take it? You think about this for a moment. Why do you take the insulin? Because it doesn't take sugar out of the blood. Where's the sugar? The sugar's in the blood. Now wait, does sugar pills take sugar out of the blood? Whether you're taking 1 or 2 or whatever, does it take sugar out of the blood? Answer, no, it doesn't. You can take those drugs until the cows come home. The sugar is still going to be where? In the blood. The sugar will still be in the blood, and you will still be considered so-called diabetic. Until you get the sugar out of the blood, you are still so-called diabetic. There's no question about it. So I have to ask a question here. If insulin does not take sugar out of the blood, and if sugar pills doesn't take sugar out of the blood, why are you taking it? I mean, think about it for a moment. What does it do? Well, we found out that those drugs can destroy the body. They can really destroy the body. It is the drugs in most cases that can lead to the collapsing of the capillaries of the body. It can lead to the pancreas not working or functioning properly. Think about this for a moment. I want you to really think about this for a moment. Everything that God makes works. Everything in your body works. Think about this. I want you to think. Common sense. That's why I call my new book Common Sense. Think about this for a moment. Your pancreas is designed to work in order to secrete the insulin into the body, right? That's exactly what it does. Well, think about this for a moment. What if you turned around and put in artificial insulin in the body? What will happen to the pancreas? The answer? The pancreas will shut down or stop working. Why? Because it has no work to do. because you're taking away the work of the pancreas by putting in the artificial